Hey everybody, welcome to another video from HexInformer. You can find us at hexinformer.com or on Twitter using @hexinformer. Now in this video I want to start because in the past I haven't really done any patch videos, but I'd like to start doing some of the patch videos, and we did just have a patch today. It is December 4th, 2013, and the patch is patch number 816B or 816B as in boy. So there are some pretty cool changes in this patch. It's not a huge patch per se, but one of the most noticeable changes that you'll see are these chat box tabs. So before you only had one chat box, and that's where everything was listed, and you lost out on the general chat when you were in your combat or when you were playing a game. So now you have the all, general, and combat. Something else that would happen was in this screen here you didn't have your chat box, or when you went into your deck builder or your card manager, your chat box wasn't there either. So now if I press enter, my chat box will show back up, and I can see who's checking, who's talking rather, in the general chat. So that's pretty cool. One of the big things that people are pretty hyped about on the forums so far is the release of a particular card. So if you go back to the home screen, you'll notice that this picture has been listed for a while. It's also been listed on a lot of the Facebook banner updates pages and a lot of the releases that Cryptozoic has done. So if we actually go into the card manager, his name is, I believe it's pronounced Urunaz, Urunaz, and he is a 5/5 dragon with flight, and he costs 7 and 3 blood threshold. And when he enters play or deals combat damage to a champion, you may put target troop from that champion's graveyard into play under your own control. So he basically steals cards from their graveyard and then puts them into play under your control. Not bad. Seems pretty fun. So I know a lot of players are excited to get in and test him out. Some of the other cards, there were 3 total cards that were added. One of the other cards is called Twisted Fate. So we'll do a search for him, or it rather, because it's a constant. Twisted Fate costs 2, and its threshold is 1 sapphire. And when you draw a card, each opposing champion buries the top card of their deck. So this is great because it does say each opposing champion, and that may come into play, especially during like the multiplayer games and raids. So that's pretty cool. But I know when Hex Alpha was originally released, there was a lot of mill out there, and since the release of new cards, they've kind of been cutting back in the meta. Not many people are playing the mill combo anymore. This may bring it back. I'm not really sure. We'll see how it plays out, but this is a pretty good card, and it's cheap and it's early, and so we'll see what happens with it. And the third card that was Sadistic Castigator. So let's go ahead and type him into the chat here. So here you'll notice Sadistic Cascadator is also a 3 blood threshold, and it does cost 6. So another expensive card, but it's a 3/4 goblin with flight, and when an opponent champion draws a card, or when an opposing champion draws a card, they reveal it. Deal damage to them equal to that card's cost. Again, could really come into play for some raids and for multiplayer. I'm not super thrilled with it being a 6 cost 3 blood threshold, but I think it will get some play, and I know players are going to be testing it out in some decks coming up, so we'll see where it leads. It's not terrible by any means. It can be pretty powerful, especially late game, but we'll see how it fits into the meta. So those are the 3 cards that were released during this patch. Something else that they changed was the card view. For your cards, now you can have a large card view, small card view, and list details. You'll notice that it's a little bit more smooth, and it's loading a little bit more quickly as well. So that is something that they listed in their patch notes. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring up those patch notes right now. So some of the other things that you'll notice in the patch notes, there is a known issue with counter magic, and I know this has been occurring, but they're just acknowledging that it is known, and a couple of others. But when you play that card, there's a sync issue that it at least will still be playable, but it will sync for about a minute approximately. So I literally at one point got up, went to the Keurig, made myself a cup of coffee, came back, and it was still not done syncing. Granted, it did finish syncing, but and I was able to finish the game. But that is a known issue, and it's something that they're working on. There are also some other general issues. One that a lot of people are excited about is right here. It says the solar flare that temporarily washed out cards in the game has now passed. And I think they're just being funny and saying it in a clever way. When some players were playing cards, it would disappear. They just would not be played. Sometimes the resources would be spent on them. Other times the resources would not be spent, but the cards would just disappear and they wouldn't even go to the graveyard or into play. So I think that's what they're referencing to there. So that's kind of funny. I really appreciate their humor there, and I'm glad that hopefully the issue is fixed again. There were a couple of small chat changes, like a space after your name, and capitalization is now proper in chat again. So there are some general changes. There are some gameplay changes that you can check out, and you'll see those here if you go to forums.cryptozoic.com or if you go to hextcg.com and click on forums. You can find them under the Hex Alpha discussion, and this is Hex Patch Notes 816B. On our website, we will also be listing those. So if you go to hexinformer.com, we'll have a little bit of a write-up there. We're going to post this video there, and we're going to start continuing to update after each patch or after some of the more significant patches, because I think it'll be interesting to see, like, when you look back at this, how far they've come from Hex Alpha. I know they've come a long way already, and we're still in Alpha. There's a lot of awesome changes being made, but I think it'll be interesting to see the way that the campaign mode works and the way that some of these other things are changing within the game. So that'll be pretty exciting as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to check us out on the website at hexinformer.com or follow us on Twitter at hexinformer. Thanks again, and we'll see you next video.